So therefore, as I have said, I'm not enclosing information here. I am actually dealing with the situation. So pay attention to that statement, please. Now, the situation is of earthy dimensions, and it is about defining this planet, declaring this planet, and properly, well, I will certainly say regulating this planet, because so far it has not been done. And since I haven't found that many workers on that table, it developed into this kind of, I would rather solo performance and the most proper definition of top of the planetary pyramid. Everyone continued to hold to the table, but no one is playing the hand. Probably because it's not easy to play hand if you're not the one. Our presidents are copying my father. What kind of hand that is? If you cannot stand as your own stamp, well, then you're not your own stamp. To be a hen is matter of real. It is real event. It's not pretend theatrical performance. But let's bring this in a proper order. I just realized today how I got to this kind of interesting subject is also interesting. I was certainly trying to explain that European Commission cannot proceed in this entire matter because they have not managed to deliver the actual ruling. That is the theoretical framework in which my work delivers. So it is not just European question, it is also a question how Europe will be dealing with the surrounding territories. It becomes quite serious, quite a planetary subject that will need to be carefully charted equally strongly within from not just perspective of course from perspective of European positions as well, but certainly not as a planetary arbitrage, but then your European Commission, because we are today discussing planetary issues. I can't see how it would be logical European Commission to take over my work. And also I hate when people continue to deal with me as I am a dead person, but they are not dead people. Although we have established they're all in wrong, and it would be more logical to assume that the ones that are in wrong or found in wrong to be declared more closer to a dead person rather than the one that is not in wrong. So let's change our perspective of what defines dead person and what cannot define dead person. Helen Clark was climbing Himalayas with portable toilet on her shoulders. If she can be still commissioner in United Nations, I am not going to accept your argument about holding drones around my house as a matter of me being disabled. And so drones can fly today around any other house. Do not give me statement of I am a dead person because there are drones around my house. Because you're not going to convince me that in that perspective you are that much of alive yourself as well. So that is our conversation on the subject who is dead and who is alive. Stop treating me for another day as I'm a dead person, just someone, because Oliver Stone made that such version of Star Wars. First of all, I'm not accepting this entire situation to amount for Star Wars. Neither I accepted that title for as a reference. I'm using it rather Star Trek as a reference. And star is reference to sun. Sun is a star. What you see from distance are various suns. Certainly it's not going to be a planet shining that far. Unless we talk about the situation of crystals, planets as existing as crystals. But let's focus on this one. In protocol in which we are, the star is our sun itself. Now let's move on here. We don't talk about dead people here. We talk about the ones that are alive. And in that context, the work I deliver cannot be given as authority to any other body to deal with, because it is my work and exists on parameters on which I have been crafting it from my personally taken perspective, which become valid in many ways, since I am today the active Excalibur declared on the planet, which anyone continue to ignore because you're too much afraid to live by your own history. Well, that is the only definition of fear you can go on with today, Australia, and the rest. And hear it well and hear it properly. The one that is afraid, Macedonia and Australia, is yourself. And it was always yourself. The one that was brave always and brave heart would be Serbia, and the one that would be scared each time it would be you. That is following the statistics. Let's move on, therefore. Who is the cheese and who is the wine here? Or should I say, who is the table? And who is the Excalibur? That somehow it was leading me to notice, since I needed to pull out as argument to such a requirement for European Commission the fact that we talk about Excalibur here, that is reincarnate, that is active event going on. Accordingly, I'm going to notice that we celebrate our Christmas, our Easter, with coloring eggs in different colors, which is clear indicator that and would explain why we have such a diversity of human beings on our territories. So that would be probably answering properly the Big Bang question. And the question, what is older, chicken or eggs? Well, clearly it would be chicken, but these eggs are not of that chicken. We have that situation. So the best describable would be to talk about a round table here. That would be the Rian round table protocol, or pizzeria as famously known equally, because it becomes so much about shareholding. And that was an ancient house. We still can argue that on that territory it was possible in any given time to find different characters, because it was a kingdom once upon a time. And if there was a kingdom once upon a time, it would be magnet for people moving in that center from all of the directions. That is what usually empire becomes, as some kind of centerpiece where people start flowing from each of the directions, because that is more like a marketplace, a presentation place where people present their works, from where certain works emerge and certain functions emerge. So it would be possible to say it in that way as well. But I'm going to notice that for quite some time there is a festival of international poetry in city behind Ohrid, where regular attendees are mostly countries from South America, because they're such literature lovers and such literature writers. I'm going to notice that festival. That festival is very much one of the strongest international events on the territory. That it is not that much talked about, by the way. So you have such strong international event. It might be that you easily continue to maintain in one or another way your bank of that kind of round table event for the sake of maintaining it as such trading event, should I say. I found myself troubled enough by the entire situation, so certainly there is enough motivation for me to start investigating this and highlighting this entire event, so we can prevent in any future time ongoing escalation of some kind of microcultural event that happened on these territories and appear to be highly inappropriate. And yet everyone is driving it on some kind of mainstream platform, because we have such drivers there from the previous empires, either previous Greco-Macedonian or Serbo-Macedonian empire, then falling into Roman imperialism. These are strong international drivers that continue to play principal game in America and continue to bring their centerpieces as literally planetary centerpieces. So that is how it became very much my personal subject. And I found myself personally intrigued to solve it, to highlight it and dismantle it, or solve it rather. Before we reach status of European Commission on anything, we have to clarify the entire situation here. And again, I'm going to say, I'm reluctant to give my work to other people and to accept to be treated as a dead person. If Europe live by the rules of by the rules of monarchies, or if Europe tolerate monarchies on their territories still, and I claim my protocol, my work from the monarchical levels, and we don't have active monarchy in Macedonia, that would be number one European problem. And I'm still holding my work to my chests, and we still have that situation in Europe. I'm claiming something, and I am the one. I have sent letter in United Nations that no one still answers to it. I can imagine it's too big, even for someone as United Nations. But you wanted to talk about someone being afraid of something. You were throwing in my face constantly fear, fear, fear. No, so I'm going to challenge you on that particular event as well. Who is afraid today? Yes, exactly. Who is afraid to confront the real issues, the size of real issues? You are afraid. You are afraid. I can't see how that can translate into someone declaring authority on certain matters. Can someone answer this as well, please? I heard yesterday on social media, as they are the owners of it, so everyone can get there and talk nonsense indefinitely. It is not time where we should be tolerating arrogant women. No one is being born arrogant. It is a consequence of certain events. And today we need to clarify these events. before we get into age of Aquarius, which is, by the way, the sign of that same arrogant woman. And until she declares it beginning as a beginning, it's not going to happen, no matter what you say. So rather focus on the reality of the circumstances. One can be nice or playing a kakadu as far as there are kakadu conditions. And so Queen Elizabeth was a very nice person. Why? Because everything was going on her hands. On her hand. Why she would not be nice? Waking every morning and smiling to the beautiful day, where entire planet is going to get under her feet. Why she would not be a nice person? Don't define being a nice person like a kakadu, while someone else is paying your bank account and you never asked from where the money are flowing. You're part of the imperial ground. It's time that we question these grounds before there are that many chickens starting a day thinking that whatever they say is going to be also profoundly correct. As long as the money are flowing on their bank account, they will be ignited to chirp it to the end of the days. Save me the thrill of listening social media nonsense. Now let's get sober. Let's get sober. I'm not providing free lunch for anyone. Any information disclosed is my chair straightened and more bullets in my gun. There's a law of mathematics, physics and logics. If I'm sharpening a voice for another day, I'm sharpening my clothes for another day as well. It's law of physics. Natural one. Let's play it nice. That's your wish list. Let's play it nice. Well then, you have a creation here of a round table of mixed eggs. And then we have the Excalibur, which is north of the Macedonia, as a round table, which would be the hen protocol. Playing the hen protocol, or playing the protocol Excalibur. Now this typical farming event. One would say, here you can ask what's older. In this kind of creation. The farming mind or the farm. I'm going to connect in any case scenario all this associated with the fact that we have a Celtic city built Singidunum, Belgrade on Danube and on Danube, and that is critical momentum here. Critical momentum means that we have the hen house being Serbia, from where today I declare my work as work of Excalibur. And clearly it has been applied on the round table sitting in Macedonia, which clearly is taking over the work and going out there and doing whatever they want. That is not how any Excalibur, any Arthur would accept his round table to work or her round table to work. And neither I am going to accept it. So that is the first arguing I'm going to give to European Commission on this entire matter. But you will notice that this is now going to question the entire concept of Europe. I wasn't planning to bring to myself that much of a work on my working table for another day. But this continued to be really as a real locomotive when I become responsible for all of the wagons behind my back. I'm going to say again, I'm not being neither provided, neither paid for it. And if someone was playing Sengidunum and Celts, that much of a henning function on my back will then provide the further development of the entire event. Since you have started it, provide conditions for further development. But it's not going to be translated into your Donald Trump of America. Why? Because it doesn't get into this mathematical equation, nothing leading to Donald Trump at all. That is where we are. What also was leading to this conclusion is the fact that all of the European monarchies exist very much as a matter of that round table, and they continue to be reluctant to recognize the Excalibur. So I'm going to bring the question of today exactly at that point, ladies and gentlemen. And I declare again myself as very much alive, not accepting drone technology to be a reason for me to be declared dead when drone technology today is above the heads, above the houses of each of you. No sorts of Nikola Tesla and beyond technologies. I'm not going to give you status of you are being in harem. That rather is going to make me a matching attribute. I really don't know how some people imagine being born in certain houses. From my perspective, being born in certain houses is a matter of ongoing liability to function the levels as how I function. To question matters. To oversee is also to question and understand. You cannot possibly exist on positions like that without understanding anything and declaring a lighthouse. Monarchy House is a lighthouse. If you are not an active lighthouse, you cannot declare it. I'm not joking. These are the facts. We live all by certain legal systems, and legal system is a matter of certain logic. Legal system is not something mechanical, artificial, imposed, enforced. It is a matter of logical perception. Why monarchy houses would be excluded? Excuse me. And don't tell me it is about breeding house. Breeding house will need to be permitted. What we breed on this planet will need to be permitted. There is nothing more important than exactly that. And what else a planet would be about managing if not the breeding? You're not going to tell me here that we talk about some kind of accidental platform. Nothing here is accidental, but carefully maintained. And it's time to look how this entire matter, what we get in the consequence, and how that all functions. Well, I can't say that the entire protocol functions properly. Even if someone is deliberately want to continue to maintain that region as some kind of imperial setting, although it may be more discretional way using various festival and international gatherings. Okay, I want to say there is nothing wrong about it, that much wrong about it. If someone wants to maintain some kind of international hub or something. What's wrong about it is that the hen, in this case scenario, a female event, but because if we talk on the grand level of functioning of the entire planetary concept, because that is what you plug into. This hen is not just hen to produce McDonald's and Wendy's, although you would continue to be happy to think about these territories like that. The fact is that that's not exactly the reality of the situation. You get much more cosmic intelligence there than you would expect. Everyone is today very happy to accept that there is enough cosmic intelligence among the Mayas, or in Egypt somewhere out there, or in any other place. But on certain territories, they're just not accept to notice what appears to be obvious in given time. I hardly way to become enough free and enough rich or adventurous without being rich, which takes a bit too much being adventurous, to visit any findings of Maya civilizations and wherever other civilizations are being declared. But I don't know what it has to do with someone negating, continue to negate certain European territories as having equally some kind of temple-related history, when obviously they have. Why everyone talks on about Mayas, for God's sake? When today all the Mayas are on my door. I want this answered. Mayas and likes. Why I need 15 years screaming, shouting, so one will notice that there are actual temples on other territories of the planet as well? And if someone located the hen exactly where someone located the hen, well, why on earth, if entire New York exists on such premises as we speak, why on earth we don't recognize that there is a house of hens out there? After all, that information gets spread all the way to Mayas. So they stop exporting homosexuals in tons. Because I wouldn't call a hen a homosexual exactly. Well, because a hen is by a definition defined by something profoundly henning. Is this clear enough? Or should I clarify it further? Europe. All the way to South America. And Mayas. I'm going to notice the percentage of homosexuals in South America reaching unacceptable proportions. The case will need to be investigated. First of all, who is controlling the entire situation? We talk about different kind of shareholding on that pyramid. That pyramid that is without its real top is situated somewhere in America, somewhere in England, somewhere with these economic power centers. But as a little kids are gathering in this kind of devilishness, celebrating each year as a year of devil, and dancing under symbol of devil. And I'm going to notice that that is no one else, in reference to no one else but the hen himself, that is in reference to Serbia. I'm going to notice that that cut top of the pyramid, which would be there for Serbia itself, is in reference exactly to that, to Serbia, that they decided to declare as a number one hunting event. And the Jesus they are hunting is not Africa. The Jesus they are hunting is Serbia. And what is on their table as a main meal for a longer period of time, Europeans, is Serb and Serbia, either drinking blood or eating the flesh. And why you're all in blood and hallucinating while you are dancing in your sick-minded, sick, lucid Europe is actually dancing on the flesh and blood of Serbia. That is why it is going in red. And I'm going to notice Europe, profoundly sick country, profoundly crazy, lunatic, and sick country. And I have been a fool supporting you in all of this time and not seeing the size of your madness, of your serious level of madness. Europe, you are mad. Territory of mad people. You are crazy. We have to notice that northern hemisphere would be associated to different state of mind. People associated to northern territories does have the serious level of lunacy. And when we find it in Macedonia, that is because it was sliding from northern territory. That is from where the entire concept of King Lear and using King Lear and misusing these people emerges. Yes, we have the element of human rights there as well. Misusing these people under etiquette of being crazy. But the fact is that entire Europe is dancing crazy dance for quite some time. The fact that crazy is entire Europe, all the way to Mediterranean. That is what I'm going to notice today. Macedonia, completely taken over by. And if today you have been becoming expert center of anything, that would be of new generation hippies for another time. That is your expert industry today. That is how far you qualify for round table. For a bunch of hippies, for sure. So European Commission, excuse me, consisted out of what European body exactly we are talking about? You need commission over you, not by you. With all the trouble that was emerging from your territories, one would finally conclude you need a bit of assistance. I will notice in this case scenario we still talk about a Adam and Eve protocol. I'm going to notice that although Adam and Eve would happen as victims in certain case scenarios, would equally end up as one being continuing to be part of the problem, the other happening as a part of solution, as turned to be the case. I'm going to therefore recognize that Eve would be engineered the protocol as biblically explained. Eve created out of rib of Adam. We would be talking about some kind of genetic mutation, let's say. Therefore, as in the result, we have the best way of how to think about this is to talk about a principal account and who would be therefore secretary. In most of the cases, that would be recognizable. That is how we relate to human. What out of this would come as a logical conclusion is just do not discriminate people when you find that you have capacity. Do not discriminate person on the basis of he or she being more capable than you. Because it is God level, it's Holy Grail level, it's God level, it's protocol human here. And you can't violate your own protocol. No one can violate their own protocol. I mean, if you appear on the light of this planet as more of a secretary profile or assistant profile than a principal profile, be happy to accept the position and we go away with this as a planet properly and no one get hurt. Just live within your capacity. Don't aim to declare more than you can be. As we have it at the moment going on daylight, sitting out in England, sitting in Europe on whatever various levels, trying to make it impossible. Next is going to be concluded that Adam and Eve protocol is equally wide protocol, and it doesn't have to be excused with blacks or with Africans. No, we have this protocol all across the planet. We have it on the white land as well. And it has been discriminated on the white land, on the white lands within the ABBA protocol, including that's completely white protocol, and discrimination happens on daylight as we speak, exactly on the line ABBA protocol within the white protocol. We have discrimination happening within the white protocol. That is too close to the bone, too close to the human protocol itself, and we cannot play that game. And then we call it human. We end up calling it a joke, yeah, for sure. But the Joker is not Adam, the Joker is Eve. And look where we are today. Eve being the Batman and Joker and Adam being Joker. It's going too far. It's just going too far. And it is too wrong. And I don't know why people overplay their positions on this planet. I just can't understand why they continue to overplay their possessions. Well, they will say, well, if I can, then I will. Well, the answer is no, you can't. Because today, it is a day where you get to hear that exactly as an answer. No, you can't. I'm going also to say, since I have to say, ABBA would not be called upon to play exactly the case, the legal examination of the entire situation, because the real event is not happening in North Europe. It is happening on ancient plateau, where is ancient Macedonian / Macedonian Greco or Serbo-Macedonian Empire. That is where we get the question. And that is where we are going to answer the question. We are not going to answer it in North Europe. Because that is not question of North Europe. That is question of ancient Serbo-Macedonian Empire. I'm going to ask Abba to safely keep it aside. Because that question is not their question, either the answer would be theirs to answer it. Thank you very much. Europe. Let's learn how to be Europe first. Then you call yourself Europe. But I found myself not defend it properly. Not that just you are not capable to defend your own territories and your own positions, which of course are going to be very much each time questionable on any actual situation. But I have found myself completely disappearing or losing my house, my freedom, my family, my heritage, everything. Because you wanted to play a leader. You have to notice Northern Europe and Europe altogether, how all they turn to play. And it's very much European question. Not that you have not managed to defend yourself, but you have put me in this possession and a consequence. And that is all you're to be blamed. So I'm expecting in quickest of the possible ways that Europe to start noticing that the Europe today speaks where I speak and nowhere else. And everything else is the secretary. And I'm going to ask Europe to start noticing what is the secretary function and what is the principal function. Because if Europe cannot recognize that, then Europe cannot declare any kind of leadership position to this world, neither to this world, neither to its own continent. If Europe cannot make a difference between a secretary and a principal function, Europe would not be good enough even for its own land. That is where we are today. And do not give me your national questions for another day. We have here European question. And do not tell me you don't know the real boundaries of Europe, which is not exactly, we are talking about European Union, which is political and economic political aggregation of certain political powers. We are talking Europe as a continent. In the way how we talk Africa as a continent, in the way how we talk Asia as a continent, in the way how we talk South America as a continent, or North America for that matter. We talk about Europe as a continent. Do not tell me you don't know where are the boundaries of Europe. This is European question, not question of European Union, question of European continent, which is the actual identity question. So you as a European continent will need to answer, do you know the real boundaries of European continent, that is European land? And have you not noticed that you are completely confused on questions of identifying the principal play and the secretary play? And why this planet would be sinking because of your confusion? Europe. Now you answer. Why this planet would be sinking because of your confusion? So what we have to notice behind the entire theatrical play is that certain territories, especially, I'm going to find here, and I have to say it because that is how it plays, that Sengedunum situated in Serbia is playing critical here, pivotal role of displacing the natural planetary formation that has been a result of millenniums old natural development of certain historic points, and the way how population has been crafted within the genetic its genetic existence within some kind of temple levels. We have infiltration that continue to drag it all somewhere on levels of Australia, New Zealand, and America, where we are losing the actual application of the principal temple properties. These are imperial temples and aimed to be used either for entertainment purposes or for purposes of building this kind of entrepreneurship and money generation from some kind of collective perspective, losing touch from the most natural development of social organization and social hierarchy in something that we would recognize today as organized society. And questions of organized society very much matter of everything that I have been delivering in my work here. I have been arguing for quite some time that Australia and New Zealand, even America for that matter, would not be that much exposed to such a territorial interactions that they would feel in need to deliver some much more serious political formation. As a result, naturally they are developing towards more opportunistic behavior and using the resources for application in various on levels of various entrepreneurships, entertainment industry, things like that, where it is associated with profit generation. And should I say we have enormous percentage of violation of human rights here, because they would feel that these are not their kids and they relate to this genetic material as they are not their kids. So we have enormous, very high percentage on so-called imperial territories today, of majorly Westlands, enormous violation of human rights, again, because these people assume that these are not their kids or these are not their eggs. Now there's critical momentum where we need to act as a temple houses, each of the territories, to protect simply their own genetic identity. Because as you can see in what became on the planet now dominant tribunal-driven trading sentiment, and nothing less present in Jewish territories. There's not just Palestinian, that's equally Jewish, although it looks much more sophisticated. Let's be reminded, let's bring you on international world-class markets, where maybe Palestinians are not in control of it, but Jewish are certainly still very present. The only reason why they have better houses somewhere on the critical territories today, not because they are more developed in any other way, but because they are more developed in being predators or being exact traders. Nothing therefore higher here, but more developed, scrupulous, and more and holding a bit more of a dominant position, obviously, within the entire financial industry, still making a kingdom of everything in of such financial kingdom somewhere in America. What I want to therefore to point out is that Australia and New Zealand, and America for that matter, are not located naturally in time on territories where you developed into such kind of genetic construct where you would be seriously concerned about global peace or global functioning. Living on territories like this, you develop more naturally in some kind of your own interest zone performance. Now, bringing principal imperial properties on such territories is waste of planetary identity and waste of planetary functioning. That is critical momentum. It will need to be noticed also critical momentum. The critical pipe here is Sengidunum/Belgrade. We have to deal with it. There's not Sengidunum or Belgrade as a matter of some people living there, but how that city has been used and continue to be used as a principal pipe for entire Western platform. And what I'm going to add here also on top of Singidunum, that is that the entire Macedonia exists in shape, in format of Judah, together with Israel. So what is making it possible is actually, of course, creating the regime Yugoslavia with President Marshal Tito there, using, of course, as a headquarter Belgrade. Why he would not be using Belgrade? It is Irish city. Here I'm going to notice Macedonia and Israel have been playing completely puppets to that regime. And that continue after demolition of Yugoslavia, after arrival in New Zealand. Macedonians didn't have any problem to tune with the local community instantly and to provide for themselves various beneficial positions. Of course, there was a promissory note attached to it. And a promissory note turned to be, of course, myself and this work. And this is where the joke now is going to stop. Someone is going to tell me, or they were commenting yesterday on local television, on a local radio station, I have a tail. First of all, the provinces would have a tail because no one gave a damn what's going on, what's happening here. So there will be plenty of tails on provinces because they are not attended and because no one have a clue how to attend the territories. Especially when it's question imperial territory, no one have a clue even how to run an imperial territory. I'm going to remind you, I'm today acting and reacting on need to define a planet. Well, you continue to indulge yourself playing a ring a spell as a little kids, completely careless about any kind of outcome. So do not talk to me about your concerns because you don't have any. You become very much, for a longer period of time, very much accommodated someone else to take care about everything. Now, when it comes to definitions, that's going to be inclusive. And you will be the one playing audience in that amphitheater because clearly you will not be capable for anything else. And I'm going to consider that as a matter of genetic craft. When someone spends a lifetime being an audience, cannot really apply for any other position. And if you're again to refer to my character, should I remind you, it is preventing, and it is about preventing the war, the planetary war, the demolition or the cracking of the planet. It is preventing what otherwise would not be prevented. And if you think that I can do that with the smile of Barbarella, think again. Or maybe you should be trying. Which would be, I'm going to say, a bit late.